So let's talk about the transitions from the Russian Empire to the USSR to the Russian Federation. It's easy to say, well, the Soviet Union no longer exists, therefore the country that Russia was, it's difficult to use these labels because they are confusing, but still, that one country ended and a new country begins. Is that accurate, or how do you explain these transitions?
It was a transformation of the international system with the end of the Cold War. It was a transformation of a certain identity, that was framed by communist ideas, by socialist ideas. And that's, as I explained to my students, that's Russia for the Soviet identity, because the third Russia after Moscow, it was the St. Petersburg Empire. And after that empire collapsed, Russia assumed a different identity, shaped and framed by communist ideals, but they functioned, those ideals, leftist ideas, functioned in Russia very differently than they functioned in European systems. They became a de facto religion. They provided the glue, cultural and ideological glue. They replaced religion in some respects.
A substitute for Orthodox Christianity.
Right. They became the substitute. And Russia, of course, was transformed in so many respects because the old elite was wiped out, because many Russians left. That's the biggest historical trauma that Russia lived through.
And in part, maybe this explains why so many churches were destroyed.
That's right. Absolutely. And that explains why so many Russians, I'm now well familiar with this living abroad, so many Russians do not associate, who live abroad, do not associate with that Russia anymore. They continue to be mistrustful of that Russia because they see this as a continuation of the Soviet identity. And Russia was split between the red and white Russia, and many white Russians had to leave the country. Revolution is revolution. There was civil war that followed. Millions and millions of people perished in that civil war. So that's an enormous trauma that Russia went through.